Creating box and whiskers plots. Let's start in statistics. I've entered some data to create box and whiskers plots. There's list 1 and list 2. We're going to use the lists a little bit differently. The first time we're going to make is a box and whiskers plot. So we're going to go into graph. Let me show you where that is. Graph. We're going to set it up. We want to create what's called a median box plot. You can do scatter plot on the first line all the way up through pie chart. We don't see box and whiskers, so we press F6 and we see median box plot. In the median box plot, I'm going to use list 1 as my input data. Frequency list, I'm going to use just the number 1 as its frequency. Every number will appear once and represent itself. I'll turn the outliers off right now, and I will leave the colors the way they are set. I'll just exit. You can check the select to make sure you've selected just box plot 1. Currently I've got them both 1 and 2 on. So I'm going to turn off the second one and go ahead and draw 1. And this is a unmodified box and whiskers plot. From here you can see you can look at the one variable statistics, including the modes and the number of modes and how frequent each mode comes up. We'll just go ahead and draw that again. You can shift trace to jump between values. This time let's change that plot to be a modified box plot, which means we're going to include outliers. Let me leave the frequency as 1, and we'll turn the outliers on. So that's the only change we're making. Everything's coming out of list 1. We'll just go ahead and draw graph 1, and you'll notice now we have an outlier that's represented by the dot. Shift trace. You can bounce through the values, including the end of the whisker, and then finally the maximum, which in this case is an outlier. Now let's create a box plot that is based on a frequency. So we're going to set up same graph number 1. You know what, let's change that to graph number 2. So we'll stat graph 2. We'll set that to be a median box plot. X list is list 1. Y list, we're going to make list 2. So we'll make use of our frequency. We'll turn the outliers on also. Exit. Select. Now we want to select both graph 1 and graph 2 to be on. So now it says draw 1 and draw 2. You can draw 3 if you need to. And we'll just press F6 to draw. And here's our 2 box plots. When we look at the trace, you'll notice that we have the option of the first stat plot or the second one. So we'll go ahead and draw that again. Take a look at one variable statistics, and again it's asking which one do you want to look at. So I want to look at stat graph 2. There's your statistics on stat graph 2, including one mode. The number 9 has a frequency of 9, and the number is 32. So those are your modified stat plots or stat graphs.